Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Caroline, and we're Chairlift.
Did I just catch your eyes like familiar fish in the water?
I think we had a lot of very different ideas about how we wanted this record to sound. And part of that included a bigger band live. But mostly it just had to do with kind of the emotion and the feeling of one of the songs.
We never intended for this record to be performed as a duo, and I think we maybe played one show as a duo at a club in Paris, but that was the most.
Yeah, those mostly covers.
Yeah. When we wrote the record, we always intended to find musicians that could play the part. So Caroline and I were playing all the different instruments. It required a much bigger band.
Just in line for the movie, 'cause my heart
I don't think the production of the music itself changed. I think that if anything, our expectation of audience was a little bit different. When we made our first record, we didn't think anyone would listen to it. It was just kind of for us and for like our 10 friends who knew would listen to it, and our moms would like it. Except the parts where we used curse words. But on this record, I guess we'd just gotten off the road. We'd been touring our first record, called Doesn't Inspire You, for about a year and a half. So after playing to so many people in different countries and in so many different scenarios, we had like a sense of there are people out there listening to this, and we're going to play this on stage. And there's different ways that people can listen to music. It can be played in bars. It can be enjoyable to shout from the stage at a festival. So our sense of context definitely shifted, and I think working with Columbia just enforced that. But like, there is some sense of like, playing to the crowd. But I think we approach that more in a way that we enjoy than any sense of stress. Like we noticed while touring the first record that some songs worked better than others, and certain emotions were more fun to carry out on stage than others. And I think this record just seemed like a chance to dig into things that we liked about the first record. Everything takes forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
it's really slow getting anything done. But mostly it's okay. We have a bunch of great people that we work with. So it's always about the people, whatever label put on it. When you're working with good people.
unanimously decided.
You're quoting an interview from Pitchfork where I was talking about some of the music that I was influenced by for making this record was stuff that I fell in love with when I was young. Like the Cranberries, and in particular this song Donna Lewis, I Love You Always Forever. The songs have this kind of sweetness that when I was little I found completely addictive. And sometimes when we were writing this record, I would, if we ever came to an impasse or like hit a wall of writing or even producing, I'd say, well, okay, put yourself back in that moment. Like, what would 10-year-old Caroline want to hear, and what 10-year-old Caroline would be obsessed with? And that actually ended up being a really easy question to answer. It's like, oh well, she would have liked this, and then it was done. So that's where that idea came from. And I still refer to it sometimes as like the 10-year-old rule. Like when I'm working on a video idea or something, sometimes I wonder if I'm getting too much up my own ass about making it cool or interesting, and sometimes I just have to resort to what would 10-year-old Caroline have been into. There's like a quote that I think of sometimes from I think it was Lou Reed in his Velvet Underground days, just saying like, we're not interested in making music for children, we're interested in making music for adults. And I think that's really cool, and there's definitely something to be said for that. But I think within the medium of pop music, that kind of like beautiful, euphoric, uplifting, transportive feeling is one that is available to, when at its best, it's available to people at all ages.
Eminem Amnesia was Caroline's idea. She kind of led the project on that one. Met Before was brought to us by a friend of ours. He got the technology to do the choose your own adventure. We were trying to figure out a song that we could use.
It was pretty obvious. I guess given the scenario where you have all sorts of different options, we had a song on a record that was about all the different ways that I could have met you, all the different ways that I could have met this person that you love. So that seemed like the perfect song. But actually, we didn't take that idea very literally. Like the music video itself isn't about all the different ways that I could have met someone who I recognized on the street. It's actually about Patrick and I living out our alter ego lifestyles of actually being science students. So it's a million different paths branch out of like one day in the life of Patrick and I as geneticists. For playing live, it's definitely Eminem Edition.
Sure, good one. There's some other good ones on there too. Wrong Opinion.
It's funny. There was a while where I started actually hating that song when I was working on it. I was like, this can't go on the album. It's rubbish. I don't know what turned us around, but then all of a sudden we were like, yay, that song's definitely going on the album. And now I'm really happy it's on. It's one of my favorites to listen to. We spent a really long time mixing the song. It's not that complicated, but for some reason we wanted everything about that to be exactly right, especially the vocals. Like finding the right vocal sound took a while. At one point, the producer we were working with, Dan Carey, I was telling him that I wanted the vocals to sound kind of like hollow and papery, and tried a bunch of different ways of hearing it, couldn't get it. And Dan said, well, let's get literal, and he took this speaker, it's like a freestanding speaker, and he actually put a sheet of paper on top of it. So the paper was vibrating on top of the speaker, and we pumped the vocals through it and mic'd it from on top and captured the sound of the sheet of paper rattling with the voice vibrating through it and threw that into the mix, and it was amazing. So that's on Wrong Opinion.